Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Successful Woman's Mindset. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen. As you know, every week I come to you on the TV show and on the podcast with women that are from all over the world, empowering other women to live their best life. Today, I am excited to have with me a new guest, Ileana. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm excited to have you. I'm going to share a little bit about you, and then we'll jump right into our topic, which is going to be so much fun. Most people don't love this topic because it's not easy for them, but I feel like it's such an important topic to learn how to embrace and actually really embrace into your life. So I'm excited to be talking about boundaries, the power of saying no. So Ileana Rontea, did I do it right?
Yes.
Yes, Ileana Rontea, her company is Empowered Women Now. She's a speaker, trainer, writer, life mentor, human resource professional, people enhancer, and entrepreneur. She currently is working on her third entrepreneurial endeavor. I know it never ends. I know that's why they call us serial entrepreneurs, right?
Yes.
It never ends.
Yes.
Along with a business partner. And that is Empowered Women Now. And we're going to learn all about that today. Through this enterprise, Ileana and her business partner create and deliver self-empowerment courses to women in the workplace. Their innovative pre-leadership intensive program, Soar Beyond Your Limits, Self-Empowerment Essentials for Women at the Workplace, targets women who are currently not on the leadership path, but who carry untapped potential. I have to tell you, first of all, I love that whole sentence. It is so powerful. And that alone is women empowerment. The words that you used in that. I would love if we started with you sharing with me why women employees, why in leadership, and why going in and starting this new endeavor of going in and teaching women employees how to be on the leadership path.
Thank you. So what my business partner and I had noticed was that when you go into an organization, there's lots of trainings for women who are already on the leadership path. They're in management roles, they're at the director level, there's lots of trainings for them. But for the rest of the women, which is the majority of women, there's absolutely nothing to move them from that place maybe into something higher, or even into a lateral role that has more responsibilities, has more fulfillment. It was just this big void. And I had a conversation with a friend who is a manager, and he told me, he said, I've been looking for a course to help my female staff who have a lot of potential, but they don't believe that they do. So I don't know where to find one. And the idea just went off in my head, and that was it.
Oh, I love it. I have to tell you, one of my favorite things on this path that so many of the women, if not all the women I am interviewing are on, is the fact that they just really paid attention that something that was needed, that was not being fulfilled. And I think a lot of times, maybe society or community, we almost run into this robot mode where we're just living our lives almost the same every day, and we're not stopping and really listening. And what you just gave is a perfect example, even though it's not the topic we're talking about today. It's a perfect example of how so many women watching and listening can go ahead and live with this purpose of creating something that really is needed and possibly missing. So I'm excited to hear more about this. I'm more excited to talk about your topic because it's such an important one. And let's go ahead and jump right in. Let's talk about the power of saying no and how that in itself creates boundaries.
So the reason we feel that saying no is empowering is because you get to set the limits of your life. You get to set what is okay for you and what is not okay for you. You get to become self-aware of when you've taken on too much, when your cup is running empty. And with women, we're always encouraged. I don't want to say indoctrinated, but encouraged to always be giving, right? Always be giving, and always putting ourselves last. And so the result of that is that you have a lot of women who are running on empty, sometimes becoming physically ill. They have burnout. They end up with diseases simply because they don't quite know how to navigate this whole boundary business. I mean, we didn't even speak about boundaries until the 80s, right? This conversation never even happened.
No.
So in the workplace, it's also important to realize when your plate is too full.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're being given too much to carry and you don't have the resources, and also in cases of harassment, inappropriate behavior at the workplace, so that you know how to handle these kinds of situations, what your resources are, and what to do about it. So being able to say no and being comfortable with it, and there's different ways of saying no, of course, is a really important skill, I think, for any woman to have.
Oh, I love that. I want to go back to some of the things that you said, because I think that we could dive a little bit deeper. One of the words you said is being aware. One of my favorite words. What can we share with our audience today on how they can be aware it's time to set boundaries and learn how to say no?
So one of the things that's really important is to become aware who it's most difficult to say no to.
Okay.
Who are those people in our lives, right? Is it our boss? Is it our husband? Is it our mother? Is it our child? Is it our best friend? So we learn to gauge as far as priorities are concerned, and of course the nature of the relationships, because boundaries are about relationships and healthy relationships. And also not to disempower the other person. So we take care of ourselves, but we're also making sure that it's not just about us. So it's always this give and take collaborative effort when it comes to setting boundaries. Now, there will be pushback. So I want to warn everybody watching that there will probably be pushback when you try to set boundaries in your life, because people are used to just you giving. And suddenly you're saying, well, actually, I prefer not to do this. I'd rather not do this. I'm not able to do this. I cannot attend, these kinds of things. So it takes practice, the self-awareness bit is the most important, because that's
so
when you know
true.
you've had enough, right?
Oh my God, it's so true. It really does take practice. I want to say I'm a typical example of that. For years and years and years, having children young. I had my first at 24 and already having a business and always wanting to be that people pleaser. I'm the oldest of four, the only girl, right, Ileana? And I just always wanted to be that person. And when I found my voice, and that's one of the things we talked about prior to getting on, was standing in your power, you mentioned, and finding your voice, Ileana. That really is something so powerful, but it doesn't feel good. It's uncomfortable. And it takes practice, like you said, to really embrace it. I will tell you now, I've gotten so good at it. And it doesn't mean you have to be harsh or mean or disrespectful.
Of course. Absolutely.
I'm a very nice person by nature, and what we see on camera is who I am in person. And I'll get taken to breakfast by somebody and they'll ask me to be on their nonprofit board, and I'm already on nonprofit boards. And I'll just politely say, thank you so much for the opportunity. I feel so honored to be asked. I would never want to do anything that I couldn't commit to. And I'm so busy right now with my other nonprofit. So I do it in a very leave the door open way. I want to talk for a minute, if you don't mind, just because a lot of the women that are watching are also entrepreneurs. And I think setting boundaries can kind of transfer over to your business as well. When you speak about boundaries, is there any examples you can give us for someone that might have their own business?
Yeah, so especially if it's a home-based business, one of the issues we can have is that we never know when to stop, right? It can just keep going, and we just keep going. And we really need to take care of ourselves even more when we're entrepreneurs like myself. We need to make sure we get exercise, we get enough rest, we eat good food, and we also have fun. Because being an entrepreneur can be so all-consuming, and I'm talking, of course, from experience, right? It can be so all-consuming.
I second that, so I'm giving you my experience, Ileana, too.
Exactly. So it's really important for us to know, unless it's something extremely urgent, my laptop goes off at 10 p.m. I'm done. Like, or whatever that time is for
Yeah,
you,
whatever is
so
your
that you
boundary.
allow yourself,
Yeah.
yeah, you allow yourself the time and you take care of you.
Oh, I love that. And I know that one of the other things you said that I think is so important to also dive deeper in that are, I'm trying to remember the example you used, but I think you said our cup runneth over. Is that what you said, Ileana? You said something like
When
that.
yeah,
Will you share
when
that?
we're giving for an empty cup,
Empty cup.
so
There
we
we go.
have empty cup, we start to become resentful,
Yes.
and self-victimize. We feel sorry for ourselves, as opposed to giving from a loving place that's full, and that you give because you want to and because it gives you joy, not because you feel obligated or you feel you have to or you can't not please that person, right? People pleasing is deadly stuff. So yeah, stay away from the people pleasing. So, and knowing your boundaries also makes other people respect you more. Eventually, once they get used to the new you, there'll be, like I said, there'll be some pushback, but eventually there'll be more respect, and people will learn, no, I can't ask for this because she's not willing to do this at this point. And the whole relationship really changes in a much more respectful way.
Yes. And I've seen that often in business, being someone that's had my own business for over 25 years. I've learned that share up front what is expected of you. Then there's no surprise when someone calls me at 10 o'clock at night about a property. I'm a commercial real estate agent as well, that I don't answer the phone. And I'll give a quick example. Last weekend, I got a call on Friday evening, a call on Saturday morning, and this goes to voicemail. It doesn't even go to my cell phone. And the gentleman started getting irritated and started emailing me. And
Right.
I didn't contact him till Monday morning because I don't work on the weekend and it was not an emergency. So when I called him on Monday, I just politely said, and I do it with a smile, it's who I am, Ileana. I said, hi,
Yeah.
we'll just call him Ben. Hi, Ben. I just got your messages from the weekend and your emails. I don't know if you're aware, but commercial real estate agents don't work on the weekends. I know sometimes people get us confused with residential agents that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And he laughed and apologized. But I've learned that with clients or anybody else, I just upfront have it in a contract, or I just share with them upfront what is included. Because Ileana, no matter what, people, their
Absolutely.
nature, yeah, their nature is to take as much as they can.
Or to
It's,
try, right? To try.
yeah, well, they can only try. It's only if you give it to them that they're taking, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So you set the boundaries. It is your life to set the boundaries around. So you take your power back in that way.
And I really have to tell you, when you use the word power with taking your power back when you set boundaries, I love that combination, because I really have to tell you, once I started understanding the power of no, it was so powerful because of what you said earlier, how much people in turn respect you. So what I would
Yes.
love to do before we share how everyone can learn more about your programs and work with you, I would love it if maybe you gave us some quick 2 or 3 tips on how today someone can set their boundaries and start saying no. Just some simple general tips that way those that are listening and watching know, okay, I can do one of those things.
So again, most important thing is to be self-aware and to know
Perfect.
when your boundaries are being trampled over. And there will be certain feelings in your body that you're going to understand that it's time to do something different. So not every relationship, of course, is challenging, but there are some that are very challenging. So for example, it might be with your mother, who might be very demanding of your time, of your space. Those are the most complex ones, and they require the most emotional intelligence and
True.
understanding how to deal and negotiation skills. So
True.
becoming aware of which one is the one that's causing you the most friction, and beginning to work with that as far as the self-awareness, and also have some strategies in place. Like if somebody wants to spend every Saturday with you, just say, well, I can do this, but I can only do it for a couple of hours. I can't give you the whole day because I need it somewhere else.
Setting more
this kind of
boundaries.
thing.
Right, Ileana?
Exactly.
You're setting more specific boundaries. It's perfect.
Yes, exactly. And you're kind of negotiating. You're not saying no. You're saying, well, actually, what I can offer you is, and you make it that way so that, people don't get offended, especially family members often don't understand boundaries, and have very different ideas about this whole concept. But it is still you that you need to take care of, right? You're still the one who pays the price afterwards. So just being aware of where it is that you need to work things through, that's the most important part. And then gently and slowly think of how you can make this more palatable for you.
Perfect.
Not necessarily no, but perhaps compromise would also work.
I love that. I love that example that you gave, because so many people have that. A lot of people have loving relationships with their mom, but they're at times challenging. It's very common. It's not out of the ordinary. And if that's the case, it's a great example to give to someone that wants to maybe stand in their power and learn boundaries. I also love the idea that when you're self-aware, as you mentioned, you really understand. And if you really listen to what bothers you, you'll know I've got to change this. It's taking a toll on me. And one of the things you said at the beginning, Ileana, that I want to just emphasize, and then I want you to share how people can get a hold of you, is when you do not stand in your power and when you do not set your boundaries, it will affect you physically, mentally, emotionally, because you get exhausted. And I think
and then you get angry and resentful, and as I said, self-victimizing. So, having the ability to set the boundaries does give you your power back, and you start to feel like you're in more control of your life instead of always pleasing other people. Pleasing other people is not the most important thing in life. Taking care of you is.
I like to say it's not my job to please other people. I also say it's not my job to make them happy, and it's not my job to make them like me. At the end of the day, if I'm not here tomorrow because I'm not taking care of myself, it doesn't even matter anymore. So I love that you shared that, because I think it's so important to recognize how relevant this is to your life and to anybody listening and watching. So thank you. And ladies, I want to hear from you. I want you to message me. I want you to reach out to me on social media, and I want you to share with me how you are setting boundaries in your life and how you're learning to say no. And as Ileana said, it takes practice. So that first time, that second time, that third time, it's not going to feel good. But keep at it. And it doesn't have to be in a mean way. And it doesn't have to be in a way that you're not still yourself. And the last thing I want to share is you don't have to explain yourself. Okay. That's a choice. You don't have to explain yourself. I can't meet you on Saturday. I'm busy. Done. Now, if it's your mom, you might have to explain yourself. So be prepared for that. But Ileana, will you share with everybody how they can learn more about you, your programs, and what you're offering right now?
Yeah, so my website is empoweredwomennow.com.
Perfect.
And this is the program we bring into progressive organizations, and we work with women in those organizations. And my email address is hello@empoweredwomen.com.
Oh, I love it. Empoweredwomen.com is the email, right? hello@empoweredwomen.com. But the website is empoweredwomennow.com. Is that correct? Perfect.
Sorry, it's hello@empoweredwomennow.com.
Oh.
Empoweredwomennow.com. Yeah.
Perfect.
It's all Empowered
No worries
Women
at
Now.
all. No worries at all. So everything is on the screen. If you're watching, if you're listening, it'll be in the description. But empoweredwomennow.com is where you can learn a lot more about Ileana, about what they're offering to come in and really show women how to be on the leadership path. I know that's one of my favorite things to talk about. I know I went into this one organization and they only had 20% of women in upper level management. And a lot of organizations really want to change those numbers, but they don't know how. Ileana's company can come in and give those women the confidence and teach them how to embrace the opportunities that are ahead of them instead of fearing them or not thinking that they're qualified, which happens to be a lot of the issues as well.
Yes, and finding their potentials, waking up their
Yes.
own potentials, which many women are not aware of.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. So thank you so much, Ileana, for coming on today. Thank you for sharing all of the information and valuable tips you gave today to our audience. I appreciate you for
Thank you for having
everything that
me.
you're doing to empower women.
Thank you, Galit. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And everybody watching and listening, thank you so much for watching another episode of The Successful Woman's Mindset. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen. And don't forget to check out Everyday Woman TV. More than likely, you're watching this episode on there. We have around 40 hosts as I'm speaking today, and we're growing every day in every area of expertise. Thanks for watching and listening, and see you next time. Bye.